Hello everyone, it's really nice to meet you all. Today I'm going to introduce myself and then I will present an interesting topic related to the hospitality industry. So let's get started. My name is Thiri, but you can call me Grace for short. I was born on 24 March 2007, so I'm nearly 19 years old. Yes, I'm an Aries, fire sign. I believe I am an omnivore because sometimes I can feel like an extreme extrovert. I can hang out with my friends all day and have conversations. At that moment, I became a social butterfly and loved to interact with many people. However, suddenly I can become an introvert. At that time, I'm afraid of people and don't want to talk even to my family. I have several interests or hobbies like watching movies, listening to music, playing badminton, and playing with my lovely dog. Last year, I took up badminton to improve my physical health and mental health. It's really helped me to forget all of my academic stress. My dream is building a career in the hospitality industry, so I set a goal to study hospitality management at the Asian Institute of Hospitality Management in Thailand. So my current goal is to study abroad. Before I talk about why I wish to study at AIM, I want to share a brief story of my life. So let's go. I'm just an ordinary girl who lives in Myawaddy, which is located in Kayin State, Myanmar. I have lived in this town since I was born. So I attended 2 government schools in this town. The first one is number 2 Basics Education High School Myawaddy. I attended this school from 1st to 9th grade. When I was in grade 10, I decided to move to another school, which is number 1 Basics Education High School Myawaddy. I decided to do it because I wanted to expand my experience and I wanted to get a better education. And then I could make a lot of new friends. After grade 10, I realized that it would take a long time to implement my goal if I continue to attend the high school. So I searched the faster and the best way to reach my goal. And then I found out the GED pathway, so I decided to take the GED exam instead of completing high school. And it was one of the best decisions that I have ever made. After completing the GED, I was so ready to start my future educational journey. So when and why I became interested in hospitality? Well, it's a very long story, so have a seat. Well, when I was young, my mother used to run a traditional restaurant in my town. As a daughter, I used to help my mom by providing service to customers, such as taking orders, serving the food, and collecting the bill. I didn't know that I've been in the hospitality industry since I was young. However, I really enjoyed doing those things. As I grew up, there was a hotel near my house, so I got a chance to discover my future career. That's why I couldn't help but be fascinated in the hospitality industry. So I made a decision to study hospitality after completing the GED. Then I started my mission, which was searching the best university for the hospitality programs. Then I found several universities that offer this program, but I didn't know which one is the most suitable for me. And then I found out AIM is in Thailand, so it's not very far away from my country, and it provides internship programs, and then finally it offers the valuable scholarship. The scholarship is the one I need the most to study abroad. That's why I wish to study at AIM. I have knowledge that in order to receive the scholarship, I need to have some experience in the industry. That's why I decided to work as a volunteer at Vantage Hotel in my town. I worked at the reception. At first, it was not easy, but later I could manage guest check-in, check-out records independently. Well, my dream is building a career in this industry, so studying at AIM will be the very first step to start my journey. And I firmly believe that studying at AIM with this valuable scholarship will help me to become a qualified professional in this field. After graduation from this university, I plan to work in a training program at a certain organization in Myanmar. I seek to share my knowledge to small entry-level employees in this industry. I desire to do it because I'm convinced that improving entry-level employee skills can foster this industry. Okay, this is the end of the introduction. So right now it's time for the presentation. Do you want to watch my presentation? Let's go! Well, for today, I chose a topic about labor shortage in the hospitality sector. The question is, the hospitality sector is experiencing a shortage of labor, so how would I retain and attract employees? Before I give you the answer, let's look at the context. Well, first of all, we need to understand the causes of labor shortage, and then I will share some possible consequences or impacts of it. And then in the end, I will give you the answer that how I would retain and attract employees. So what do you think? What factors are causing the labor shortage in this industry? Well, first and foremost, we need to talk about the basic salary. The average wages of the sector have been lower than the other sectors. I asked some of the hotel staff in my town about their incomes. They said that their basic salary is not sufficient to support their monthly expense, including housing, grocery, and other bills such as water, electricity, and the internet. For housekeeping staff or waiters in my town usually gets only 100,000 and 200,000 kyats. However, the monthly rent is more than that, more than their basic salary. In my town, the minimum rent is over 100,000 jets, and others costs are not included. That's why those employees cannot cover their monthly expense and let alone support their family. So the first issues is salary is not equal to the monthly expense. The next one is the pandemic. We all know that during the pandemic, businesses had to shut down temporarily and then work from home trend became popular among people, especially among Generation Z. They prefer working from home because of higher payment and flexible schedules. After the pandemic, the industry is slowly recovering, but some people decided to not to return to the real life workplace. That's why this affect the staffing level in this industry. And then there is immigration policy. After the pandemic, immigration policies in some countries have been changing over time. Like in some countries, immigration policy are really strict, so it can limit the labor forces. For example, countries with low population, such as Japan, Korea, and any other countries with low populations, cannot fill the labor gap with their own citizens. That's right, they may need immigrant workers or international workers. But if their policies are really strict, it is really difficult to overcome the labor shortage. The next one is seasonal fluctuations. Well, seasonality is a temporary imbalance which is mostly caused by a higher and lower concentration of the guest or tourist flow during the certain periods of the year. Let me elaborate this statement. For example, tourists or travelers tend to travel during the summer months due to school holidays. During that period, demand may higher than during other season. On the other hand, people usually don't travel when the weather is unpleasant, especially during the rainy season. During that period, tourism as well as hospitality industry often declines. The thing I want to point out is that fewer tourists in the certain season means less revenue in that certain season, and less revenue leads to decreased demand. When demand drops, employers cannot afford to hire many workers as possible. I think they may need to fire some workers. Thus, this show that seasonality can affect labor force and worsen employees turnover. The next problem is an flexible schedule. We all know that workers in this industry have to work very long hours very long hours, and sometimes they have to work unexpected overtime because of customer demand. Moreover, they have to handle the guests who complain a lot. It's really exhausting. However, from my experience, hotel staff don't usually get like regular holidays, even though they work every day, every weeks, and all day. When I was working at a hotel as a volunteer, I found out that workers, especially housekeeping staff, don't get Saturday holidays, and they need to stay at a hotel all day. That's why they don't have enough time to focus on their personal lives. However, nowadays, people are looking for a job that balance their personal life. Their personal life, which means they value work-life balance. But managers and employers always prioritize customer needs, so they may ignore the employee's condition. That's why, as a result, employees experience both mental and physical stress. This may lead to losing staff. Okay, those are some possible causes of labor shortage in this industry. So what are the consequences? Let's talk about some consequences. Well, when labor shortage occurs in this industry, existing workers have to face higher workloads and tiredness. This staff burnout can cause even higher employees turnover. And fewer workers can reduce service quality, and then it can decrease the revenue. Finally, it can affect the potential success. So how these things work? Let's find out. Well, let's imagine a typical event. A hotel has only a few workers, especially housekeeping staff. At the same time, demand is higher than the supply, which means that the number of guests is higher than the number of workers. We all know that travelers and tourists usually book rooms before arriving, but you cannot offer them because rooms cannot be prepared on time due to insufficient housekeeping staff. Believe it or not, housekeeping staff is one of the most important part of a hotel. This phenomenon can reduce the revenue. And let's think about another event. If a restaurant doesn't have enough workers, it's nearly impossible to give the premium service to the customer. What do you think? This kind of poor service quality leads to? Well, poor survey quality can cause negative reviews, and those kinds of negative uh, reviews can affect hotels or restaurant production success because people like to read and analyze those kinds of reviews. So these are some common consequences of labor shortage in the industry. So how would I retain and attract employees? Well, for me, first of all, I would keep current staff longer. If your business is facing labor shortage, it is really important to keep like old workers. So how would I how would I do it? Well, I would keep current staff with retention strategy. Nowadays, employer use retention strategy, which is increasing wages to retain their staff. We need to increase uh, wage we because the basic salaries need to match with the living cost or living expense. Moreover, we can give extra benefits including healthcare and education. It is essential to consider about healthcare because nowadays it is really expensive. That's why most of the workers cannot afford healthcare with their basic salaries. So this healthcare benefit can encourage workers to work longer. And the second one is giving career development and investing in the employee development. There are some people like me who want to build a career in this field, seek to work at a workplace or a hotel, which offer career growth opportunities. This is because we want to learn about this industry and we want to develop our personal growth. That's why uh, career development can encourage employees to make the most out of their current skills, and then they can explore their full potential. So what about investing in the employee development? Well, I have read an article explaining that investing in your employees' development can foster your business, which means employees want to work in the workplace for longer. And investing makes the employees feel appreciated and qualify for their job titles. So this is one of the useful solutions. And the next one is building a strong community in the workplace and giving flexible schedule. Well, from my perspective, building a strong community means it is like a better workplace. That's why I would be a strong community by providing and the advanced or reliable management, which means management will be divided according to factors. I know that this is very common. However, when when I was working at the at a hotel, I I found out that the that hotel has only one manager, so he has to manage and operate every factor of the hotel, including reception, kitchen, and he also has to check audits. So there's a lot of things to do for him. Because of this, the management is weak and he cannot monitor and focus on his employees' difficulties. That's why if I owned a hotel business, I would hire one manager for one factor. Only then can we help the employees' difficulties. The next one is flexible schedule. Uh, as a as I value work-life balance, I firmly believe that employee also should have flexible shift and certain holidays. Let's talk about the next one. Where the next one is gig workers. To provide workers with flexible schedules, we need gig workers or like international workers. Some international students are looking for a part-time job, so it's really useful. Well, some people tend to do freelance work rather than permanent long-term positions. That's why gig workers trend is really great for employers who prioritize on-demand hospitality staffing. And it's really like good for long-term employees because they can focus on their personal lives. And nowadays, employers don't have to try and hard to find gig workers because they can find those kinds of workers on digital platforms, so it's very convenient. That's why blending long-term staff with gig workers is one of the best methods to retain old workers and attract new employees. And then the next one is technology. Well, we all know that technology is the essential part of our life and it makes our life easier. So by using technology in this industry, makes things all works faster. And self-check-in, check-out processes can reduce the employees' workload so they can focus on other problems like dealing with discontented guests. And the last one is collaborate with hotel or hospitality schools. Well, I decided to talk about this because this this solution is this solution is worked in the real life because the industry attract me to build a career in this field with this method. Well, for example, AIM, it is inside Avenue Place Riverside Bangkok Hotel, so it gives real hotel environment and students can gain hands-on experience. And those kinds of schools offer internship programs so students can get career opportunities through the network. Okay, these are some possible solutions solution I would use to attract and retain employees in the hospitality industry. So let's end the presentation. For conclusion, if you are facing a shortage of workers and you want to retain and attract employees, your business or workplace must be a good choice for workers. If you're facing a shortage of workers, you should ask yourself these questions like, does your workplace match the living trend, like living expense, and did you take care about the workers, or did you take care of your workers? It is really essential to consider about it is actually labor shortage or a good job shortage. That's why if a business or a sectors is facing a shortage of workers, think twice that is truly because of workers or is because of your business. Is your business is a good choice for them? Yes, this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for watching.